Riverside.
All right. So the Bears is forever. I'm cursing their franchise forever. We have the big, like Indiana takes 100 and some odd years to get to this point. The Bears all of a sudden go and play back-to-back games, beat their rival. Tim was already struggling yesterday after the game, and then the Bears play, and he texted me this morning. He's like, I can't talk. So Indiana's got a national championship game, and we've got a guy on the injured list, and it's stressing me out. Luckily, everyone says Kirkwood and Dunn's kind of like a scheme thing, so we're plugging Alec Keezer in here. And Alec, thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. I love it. Like I said, like I tweeted, I'm not gonna be able to match the fire that Tim brings, but it's a next man up scenario. And when you're trying to win a national championship, it's like I said, next man up. So here I am, excited to be here.
Well, you do different styles, right? You got Daniel Ndukwe is kind of more of a speed guy than Stephen Daly was. So like that's the thing. It's like we're throwing different things at Miami fans here. So they don't know what's coming, just like their offensive line against a Brian Haynes defense.
Absolutely love it. It's all about confusion. That's where the sim pressures are coming from. We walked Tim up to the line, and then all of a sudden, here I come through the A gap.
Well, you're listening to the Kirkwood Dunn podcast. My name is Trent.
Joined by Alec Keezer.
Alec, yeah. Alec's got to go. My name is Alec. You know, like, okay, here we go. We're going to start
Right,
We're going to do that again. Kirkwood Dunn podcast. My name is Trent.
My name is Alec.
All right. He nailed that one. All right. And we are here to talk about the national championship game. My God, we are talking about a national championship game. First, we're going to revisit in on the recruits because it was a big day yesterday for the staff, and then talk a little bit about the narrative surrounding Indiana football, the largest cheating scandal since, ? And finally, we will look towards Miami. If you're looking for Peach Bowl talk, I'll talk to Alec a little bit. He was there. I want to get his take on a little bit of take on the game as well as the environment. But that is in the last episode. Go check that out. Tim does share how he ended up pantsless during the Peach Bowl game. But Alec, you are on Cigs Inside Pod / Indiana Voice of College Football. Thanks for being on here, man. Are you just absolutely pumped?
Dude, I've been levitating since the game. It's we thought we were gonna.
Tim, or sorry, Alec. Sorry, I'm gonna probably call you Tim a lot. I'm gonna pause you there. I think Mario Cristobal just called an early timeout and just wasted one. So, yeah. So, I was trying to get you prep for the Mario Cristobal early timeouts for no good reason. So, just getting our fans ready. Okay, Alec. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I know you guys put us on belt watch, and the conditions were swirling, and but to come out and play the way they did, and even the pick six and set the building on fire was like basically just was the story of the game. But the first play of the game, Indiana kicks off and Byron Baldwin Jr., true freshman, flies off the left side and absolutely depletes whoever was returning kicks for Oregon. Like that to me set the tone for the entire game. That was like, to me, I was like, yeah, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that first series drives that Alabama had and also Oregon had. Oregon scored a touchdown on theirs. Alabama did on theirs. But like there is some level of this coaching staff likes to come out and go, oh, we're going to take some punches like into the side and just see what you're doing so that we can counter and adjust to whatever is needed. Like I fully expect Miami's coaching staff and this offensive line and defensive line that's so vaunted that we'll talk about, like they're probably sack Mendoza in the first drive. They'll probably, move the ball on the ground a little bit. Like, and as an Indiana fan I don't know, when was the last time I was stressed as an Indiana fan? Ohio State? Like, I'm like, we're just fine. Like we're going to adjust to this. And to your point, it was like a tone of that hit and an interception, and it was smooth sailing from there.
But I think the other thing is, like, and people noted this, but it was an absolute Indiana home game. Like, that was Bloomington, Georgia. Like, from the second that they showed Cignetti on the screen, Mendoza ran out on the field, the way the IU reverberated up through the closed roof and like shook the building before the game even started, it was like, oh my goodness. And like Dante Moore had the quote after the game where he was like, I thought it was just Red Seas, but it was all Indiana fans. and like it was an absolute takeover. It was unbelievably impressive from the fan base.
Yeah, I mean, it is one of those things that it probably will never be like that again. I mean, I don't wanna put that out against challenge Indiana fans, but I think there was just the perfect storm of the excitement from Indiana's fan base, Oregon's travel schedule, which I feel really bad for them, but there was just an absolutely overwhelming and I think Galen actually said on the podcast, and I tweeted it out thinking it was my own original idea, and then I remembered that Galen said it. I think it is the largest collection of Indiana fans ever to be in a stadium to root for a team, just because Memorial is pretty small, and the Big Ten championship game that was closer to 50-50 than it was 90-95 5-10. So I mean, it was exciting. I'm glad you got to go. Like, you didn't get to go out to the Rose Bowl. Are you going to the national title game?
I wish if I could, because it was funny because I recorded my like post game video and I was like, I'll see everybody in Miami, and then I like sent it out, and then I was like, why did I say that? I was like, there's just no way. So I'm not ruling out that I'm gonna go to Miami and just like try and find my way into like a bar near the stadium, or like maybe
Yeah,
go to Bloomington. I heard Assembly Hall
Bloomington.
might be
Yeah,
showing the game, which would be unreal. But no, it's more than likely I probably watch the national championship from my couch. So being
yeah.
at the
Every
Peach
time
Bowl,
Indiana.
I
Yeah,
was
go
gonna say
ahead.
is just
Sorry.
being at the Peach Bowl and getting to watch this team play at this level against that competition was just an unbelievable experience.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you just want a piece of it. I mean, yeah, I think it's really cool people would go to Bloomington and watch it Assembly Hall and on the field. And if like you're in another state and there's an alumni chapter doing something, go to that. Like, it's a community, it's a
That's a good
religious
idea.
experience, right? Like that's the thing that I'm really pumped about. And I kept hearing to my wife through the whole thing, and she asked me, okay, she had had a few drinks. She's like, "Hey, what is our actual budget to go to the national championship game?" And I told her a number, and then it was under this number clearly. And then like D'Angelo Pods gets like the interception pick six, and I'm like, it's $5,000. And then
Numbers going
like
up.
the next time we score, I'm like, it's $10,000. And the next time we score, it's like it's $15,000. Because I think the thing for me is like, I said this, and I will be the first to admit this, that this is kind of bush league. But if we were playing Ohio State, I would actually be more nervous that we were going to win, because there's going to be nothing worse than spending $10,000 on a total trip, tickets, whatever to get down there and then lose. I I'm paying $10,000 to go to this because I know we're going to win, and I'm going to be there. Like, there's no ounce of thought that I have that Indiana doesn't finish this off. And so it makes it a lot easier to be like, oh, I get to pay $10,000 to go see us win a national championship and see Signetti after the game hoist a trophy. I'm down for that.
It's funny because you would think when you look at the ticket prices and on the secondary market that more people would look at that and be like, "Ooh, I don't know." But I cannot
Yeah.
like an innumerable amount of people that I spoke to after the game were like, "I am going no matter what. I do not care. It does not like I'll drive, run, it doesn't matter. I'm going to be at that game." And it wasn't just like two or three people. It was like 10 to like 15 people that are just like, "I do not care," and are echoing the same sentiment as you. Is like there are a lot of Indiana fans that have been waiting for this moment for a really, really long time. And some people that,
Yeah.
haven't been waiting as long, but are still passionate fans that are going to want to make their moves and get down there. But like,
Yeah.
this is, there's not going to be another first title run. And to your point, like the line opened at 7.5. It's now 8.5, and it's probably going to keep moving aggressively. Like we are
Yeah.
significant favorites in this game. And like both watching football games know that Indiana's got a really good shot to go down there and do some serious damage. So it's like, it makes it a lot easier to make that financial commitment, knowing the type of team that's going to show up in Miami is going to be one worth watching.
Yeah, for sure. So find your people. Try to get it elsewhere if you're listening to this. Even if you can't make it there. And I will not judge anyone for not making it. I will judge no one for not having the coin to do that, because it's there. It is a good reminder. Like, I gave up our season tickets when we moved to Michigan, and man, I would have paid less if I would have kept my season tickets and kept like our donation that we were doing with our priority points. I probably would have paid less doing that over the last 2 years than it will probably be for me to buy third party ticket market. Right. So like, it is a good reminder to people. go start donating to athletics, go donate to, you get points for donating to your college, like you went to the college or Kelly or Spia or whatever. And then, just start building those points up because I don't think we're done. Like in Indiana is not going away. You're going to have another opportunity to go deep into a playoff. Maybe not the national title game because it's really hard. I want to be very respectful for what it means to go to a national title game, but like get those points built up, and that's how you do it. So it's especially you talked about younger fans that maybe haven't been around that long, which I am not a gatekeeper. I do not care if you just joined today as an Indiana fan. Like, come on, bring it on. Like
Come on
now,
in.
now, yeah, exactly. Come on. The tent, the candy striped tent is very big. So like that is what I my position on it. But to get these benefits and do that type of stuff and see this keep going, consider donating and doing that stuff. So I mean, I think it's a big part of this.
Oh,
All
absolutely,
right.
and it's like a reunion, like, and
Yeah.
that's the kind of the last point, like, going to Atlanta and,
Yeah.
like, I saw so many people I went to school with and, like, had experiences with
Yep.
and were able to, like, re-see again, so it's yeah, it's, these experiences are worth it.
Oh, for sure. It is a memory. Credit card debt is temporary. Memories last forever. All right. Coaching staff. Guys, Alec, you've been on this. By the way, Alec lives on the internet. This is why he's the perfect person to have on here to set the stage of this because he lives on the internet just like I do. I could tell when Alec was traveling from Atlanta because he like maybe wasn't on the internet as much as usually is. And that's why it's like guys like Alec and I who live on the internet, like, oh, we know Trent and Alec are sleeping because they're not tweeting right now because if they were awake, they would be talking about it. So I don't know how much you were traveling yesterday, but the coaching staff was back at work. Like Sig said he wasn't thinking about the next opponent, he was just thinking about cracking a beer. And he also was thinking about landing some major high school recruits. For those who don't know, Garyon Hobbs, a safety, 24/7, I think, has him as a 3-star. I know I've seen some talk online that he maybe was 4-star from some ratings, but what I pulled from him, he was a 3-star. But they chose him over Notre Dame. And I'm a big who did they pick Indiana over is a good tell of where these guys rate, just because that's usually a good sign of like a guy's coveted for a reason. Like other coaching staffs, even though Signetti makes them look dumb, aren't dumb. Mosana Torbert Jr. Is an athlete, 4-star. He's projected as a defensive back. I think that's good to know. And Jahide Brown, receiver, was kind of the big name, 4-star over Bama. What do you think of these guys, Alec? And like, what does it say about the coaching staff that they win a Peach Bowl and they come home just like they did the Rose Bowl, and it's just like recruit, recruit, recruit.
Yeah, well, I think it's telling. The first thing those coaches did when they got to the locker room in the Rose Bowl was call a bunch of recruits, and
Yeah.
that momentum didn't stop. But I think Garyon Hobbs is the guy who I'm probably least familiar here, and that's because he was literally crystal ball to Notre Dame on 24/7. So the fact that
Wow.
Indiana was able to go in there and basically steal him away from Notre Dame, you watch his huddle, he just looks like a Notre Dame football player in the best way possible, and in the box safety plays bigger than he is, hits. Looks like he's going to be a rover type. Torbert and Brown, I'm a little bit more familiar with. Torbert is somebody that coaching staff has been on for a really long time. He noted that when he committed, it is like Indiana was one of the schools that was giving him a shot when not many schools were giving him a shot. That's a kid who like you turn on the huddle and you go, oh, okay, I get it. Like he just as a
Yeah.
safety, he's a ball hawk. He runs away from people, and it's like, okay, what level of competition is he playing? But at that age, you want to see significant separation. You don't necessarily need to see how fast he's running to understand he's pulling away from these kids. But the absolute crown jewel of yesterday was Jahide Brown. Like that,
Yeah.
his you want to talk about production over potential. I know he's a high schooler, but he had 1,500 yards as a receiver at Louisville or in Louisville. Like he was earned his All America status. Like he unbelievable as a playmaker. Like I will get myself in a lot of trouble if I start trying to comp him off of his huddle highlights. But like I saw some people try and say like Omar Cooper, and like I get it for the yak stuff, but Coop plays with a lot more
Mhm.
physicality and power. This kid is just a different gear of speed. He is an unbelievably impressive high school prospect.
Well, you're talking to a guy that will look you straight in the eye and say Fernando Mendoza's comp is Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. Because I mean, I truly believe that. Like the guy, just how he's built and stuff like that. So I'm here for all of the good comps of Jahide Brown. How do you think this Munchin Sales tweeted like a picture or something. I mean, that guy's really active on Twitter. So and these are recruits and they're 18 years old. You should never take anything from it. But like, there's still room. I think this, so I'm just getting a confirmation here. There's still room for Munchausen Sales. This isn't like they chose Jihad
Yeah.
Brown over Munchausen
No, no, no,
Sales.
no, 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 no.
Yeah,
That's some. There's just some kids that are like you take them no matter what. Doesn't matter what your
yeah,
class looks like. Doesn't matter how many kids you have at that position. Doesn't matter what the
yeah,
future of that position looks like. Sales is one of those kids that you take no matter what. Now he was Wilt Fong predicted him to Alabama. Wilt Fong is usually pretty good about these things. Sales is a Indianapolis kid, but apparently his entire family's from Alabama.
yeah.
So I'm not definitely not calling the Hoosiers out by any means. But he did pick up an Alabama prediction. So it's kind of tough there. We'll see. But no, he's a kid you take no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so it's not just high school recruiting. Those three kids are 2027 class, correct?
Hmm.
Yeah, just confirming that. Yeah, I didn't know much about Gary on Hobbs to your point. So I was like, just making sure, like back of my head, I'm like, they're all 2027. There are some visits happening right now that's been reported. Now, I'm big on like these paywall guys. Like, I'm not here to like I read their stuff and it's there. But there's been some talk, and the Texas running back is visiting this weekend. That's been publicly confirmed on Twitter, as well as a receiver prospect. And it begs the question, Alec, and I want to get your take because even my group chats were kind of blowing up about this. What does that mean for guys like Kobe Martin, Charlie Becker, like these guys that are expected to be back that, you've already taken a receiver, you've already taken a running back, and now you're having visits with a couple more. Depth is always good, but would you be surprised if somebody that we're not expecting transfers?
Yes, I'd be pretty surprised. I mean, I wouldn't even Charlie Becker doesn't even deserve like belong in this conversation. To me, he's a full
Mhm.
blown starter next year, not even a question. Like him and Nick Marsh are your two outside receivers, and here you go. Like Charlie Becker's spot is completely secured. Kobe Martin, it
Well,
looked like he was.
I wanna stop you there. I don't know if it's security. I wanna be very clear about that. I think they're like, Charlie Becker would be the receiver 1. The problem is, maybe, is that he could be receiver 1 on any team in the country. So, his market value is a
Honestly,
certain
that
level. That's what
never
I'm really
even
implying.
never even crossed my mind once. I wouldn't like the guys
Yeah,
who Indiana wants to keep and want to build around don't leave the building. So no, I'd be stunned
yeah.
if Charlie Becker left the building. Like if Kobe Martin, I, I'm not really sure. To me, it's a guy who probably sticks around the program. He stayed through the coaching change. He's somebody who's gaining the trust of the coaching staff this year. He played in the Peach Bowl. And this is a staff that rotates their running backs. They played as much as three this year. They were planning on playing three this year. Martin's going to be another year older. He has carries under his belt. I think even if they bring in, it's Baxter, the Texas running back.
Yeah.
Even if they bring in like another running back, I think that Kobe Martin still has an opportunity to be in the rotation next year. And I don't see him as a guy who would potentially leave, given the fact that he is an in-state kid and he's seen his playing time increase.
Yeah, I think it ultimately, no matter what, and there was I'm gonna clip this from the broadcast. Have you been able to rewatch yet,
No, I
the game?
haven't.
Yeah. So there was some talk, and I'm gonna put this out after we get done recording. I get it all loaded and stuff like that. But like, there was McDonough was talking to Signetti, and basically Signetti's like, I spent Monday talking to kids that were upset that we were bringing in players in their position. Was paraphrasing what it was. And so Signetti talks about that, and Signetti is like one of the most like straightforward, authentic coaches. So, like, I truly believe like that is the case. So you like look at it and you're like, okay, maybe who was there. So I think all I'm saying is, when you're this good as a program like Indiana is, and you do have a lot of talent that wants to come in, there's a chance that like players that fans do love get recruited over, and they do leave. Like, that's like the reality of being at a big time program. And the caveat that we always give on these podcasts, because this is what will be in the comments below, which, by the way, like and subscribe, comment below, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever you're watching this on. um Make sure that you hear this. We trust Signetti and staff to do whatever, but we get together on a Sunday afternoon to talk ball, and sometimes we just talk about things. So calm down. We're not saying Becker's transferring. I'm not saying that because I know Alex very much like, no. We're just talking. We're just talking. So
No,
good grief.
I think
I'm
if you
already
look
getting
at
out of the comments.
it's fine. No, but I think if you look at some of the guys that they brought in the transfer portal class, you can kind of start making some inferences about who might be seeing their playing time decrease or who thought they were going to be coming into more playing time that maybe it isn't going to be as available as I thought it was going to be. At the same time, based on the last couple of years, like retention is one of the things this staff does unbelievably well. And like you said, it's full trust and faith in this coaching staff. And so if
Yeah.
they say these are the guys we're going with, those are the guys we're going with.
It's also the transfer portal. So, like, all the guys that like, I think you dropped Baxter's name from Texas. By the time this, like, gets posted, he might completely be out on Indiana, like, or Indiana might not want him, and he, like, committed to somebody else. Like, it's I mean, heck, Smothers from NC State today, like, flipped from Alabama commitment to Texas. Like, it was like he was going. So, this is a wild, wild west that's in the transfer portal, especially in this window, which technically has 5 more days. By the way, Indiana now has till the 21st to do portal stuff, and our players have a chance to jump in the portal if need be. So, all that to keep in mind. All right, Alec, let's talk about the dumbest parts of the internet. And I'm not just talking about Miami fans, even though they live mostly there. Last night, a cheating scandal comes out. And it came out late enough that we actually talked about it on the pod yesterday. So remember, if you want Peach Bowl reaction and stuff like that, we talked about it. But it has blossomed into like this full blown SEC narrative that like burners are like literally screenshotting our analysts, part time staffers who got a degree in cyber intelligence or a certificate. And Mark Cuban has a sports AI firm. These are the things that people are grasping on to. What is your reaction to the fringes of society that are college football fans?
Complete and utter ridiculousness. And I actually literally as Indiana's running out onto the field for the Peach Bowl, I have my buddy texting me one like a literally like a tweet or something. It was like my friend from the Big Ten is telling me that there's a cheating scandal. Like, do you know anything about this? And I was like, what are you talking about? And what could that possibly be? And then when I saw it start blossoming online, I was you have to be kidding me. Like it is so idiotic the things that they're saying. Like Indiana's cheat. It's like it's simple things like they use motion to show that Oregon's playing man because they play man 70% of the time, and then they run man beating concepts, and then guess what? The practice and the repetition and the timing shows up in the games because that's how they operate and execute. It's like none of the things that they're doing are like holy shit, I can't believe they have our plays. Like
Yeah,
like Buffton Prime T-Cow, who's like an unbelievable follow and like a film guy and film junkie, texting D'Angelo Pons and telling him Dante Moore locks on 3-step drop. It's a pick six every time. He's texting him that based on film. Like that's not stealing
yeah,
practice foot. Like it is. I could go on for a while about it. It is one of the few things that has actually gotten me fired up because I think it's so disrespectful to the way this staff and this team prepares and the way they watch film. And it's like they're not stealing plays. They're just better than you. It's really that
yeah.
simple.
Don't you kind of love it though?
I do.
Like just watching them break. Like there's this Ohio State burner that was in the mentions. Like I kept egging him on, but he replied to me and like, of course, like you only have 214 followers on YouTube, like that type of like stuff. He replied to me 27 times to prove to me that his brain was not broken by Kurt Signetti. like, like brother.
It's parody. It's actually parody. The
Yeah.
things that some of these people and like some of it is parody. Like the dude who got community noted for the rosin. I think he actually
Yeah.
like that was bait. Like I think that was actually like a joke, which I think is really funny. But like
Yeah.
sifting through that is hard. And so it's like, and then there are some Miami fans who are stoking the flames and are using it to kind of push a narrative, and that becomes dangerous too because there are a lot of dumb people on the internet who will not understand its satire, and then it's like. Why do we have to deal with like, there is no cheating scandal. It really is that simple. Signetti is the best in the industry at what he does. Nobody else has a 30-year recruiting coordinator career and then went and became a head coach and clawed their way up from the Division II level all the way up to the highest level of college football. Like he's an anomaly.
For sure. Breaking news. Um, Indiana has landed our expert prediction, Indiana to land receiver Shaz Preston from
Hey, now
Tulane.
we like
Yep,
that.
and then, we have gotten a commitment from Montana State transfer cornerback Carson Williams,
Oh,
is has landed. So, hey, anytime I see a small school guy come to Indiana, I'm like, "Oh, that guy's gonna be an All-American." Good for him. If you wanna know the timestamp, Alec and I can't even do a podcast without, getting commitments and transfer stuff, recorded. So, if Alex got to look down at his phone, if you're watching this on video, to send a retweet, just know that's what he's doing, as that's what we have to do, like, 'cause Alec and I live on the internet. So, all right, cheating scandal, you're exactly right. Craziness, like lunacy and all that stuff. And also, the problem is Connor Stout, right? The problem is that, like, people think that there's actually a legitimate edge to cheating, and so if Indiana figures it out, Houston Astros broke baseball, now it's like Connor Stallions breaking college football, and it's like, it's you're exactly right. It isn't so much, and you know what? Alec, let's take off our Indiana hats. Let's put on a neutral hat. How do you explain it? Like, how do you like, if you're just, like, a college football fan who has built this whole narrative, this whole mindset, this vision or whatever, and then all of a sudden, Indiana not only is winning, but dominating supposed good teams. Like, I get why your jump, and there will be times, sorry, I'm rambling here, but it
you're
is where I'm at. There are times when teams run the ball, like Sayan was doing this, when Ohio State would run the ball, and Indiana was around the offensive line faster than anyone else, that you're like, this does feel like Connor Stalions doing this, because they're just so quick to be in the backfield. Like, what CIA operative is hacking into their system? Like, that is how it makes you feel as someone who loves college football and watches it. And is it just that we're that much better than everyone else? Heads or like
well,
coaches prepare?
I think it's twofold. I think one is it has to do with how much faith people put into 24/7 and On 3 and star ratings
Yep.
and how little people understand about how those ratings actually are produced. And then I think it is also that I really think it's as simple as our coaches are outworking other coaches. Like guess where Will Stein was 24 hours after the Peach Bowl ended. Less than 24 hours after the Peach Bowl ended.
Kentucky. Yeah.
He was at the Kentucky basketball game, sitting there getting
Yeah.
introduced and cheered on the screen. No time for tears, right? You got to recruit. Like so that staff that was losing running backs left and right and had three cornerbacks and was playing 70% man against our offense and was spending half their prep time recruiting for other schools had literally negative chance of competing in this football game. It just wasn't going to happen. If you look at the way this staff ruthlessly prepares, watches film, practice time, like everything is to a T. It's like you took the guy who architected Saban's roster construction, and then that guy learned how to be a head coach and like learn the nuances of player management, personnel management, and that staff has been together for 12 years. So
Yeah.
it really is an anomaly. It really is as simple as time in the field. Time like he's an expert in multiple fields of football, and he also has cultivated a staff that are also experts, and
Yep.
they are all. It's just a cohesive unit. Their collective effort and their collective energy is just more than everybody else's. I really think it's that
I'm
simple.
telling you right now, Mike Shanahan is not running a pitch play on 4th and 1 against Indiana having no defensive backs into the field, and you have Kenyon Sadiq and Johnson as tight ends who are super fast and burned Indiana a couple times, and you run a pitch play. Like, that is, like, you're to your point. Bro was not prepared. He had enough time to do one drive script.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
it's
it's
that's like
crazy.
it's an unfortunate reality for Oregon, who going into the playoff thinks they have a chance to compete for a national title, and then get hamstrung because the college football schedule is the way it is. But I would like to see a team like that like get super aggressive and just tell the coaches to like kick rocks. Like thanks for everything, but we have to move forward because like
Yeah.
there's too much of a distraction. Like what do you want to do? Do you want to win or do you want to make everybody
Mhm.
feel good?
Well, and Indiana's gonna have to face this. They will eventually have to face this. Like, I just I know Brian Haynes said he has no burning desire to be a coach, but, like, eventually, it will come. Our day will come. And Cignetti, again, a Cignetti of all people, like, here's what's gonna happen, Alec. Every team that had a coordinator change lost. It's Miami is keeping both coordinators. We're keeping both coordinators. We're in the finals. So that's going to be a new narrative. Next year, everyone's going to talk about that. You know who the one team is going to be that's going to break that narrative?
Kurt
Indiana
Cignetti's
football.
Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like that's the reality we live in. It's such a weird reality, but I love it. Okay, let's talk Miami. Oh, Alec, I can't tell you enough how much I hate watching Mario Cristobal coach football. Like, it has been just years ever since he was at Oregon, and really when he came to Miami is when it, like, solidified because their whole that which is hilarious, the whole Cuban, like, buying a team and, they built their whole team on cryptocurrency and, Mario Cristobal is like, "We're gonna build in the trenches," and, like, all this type of stuff, and "I'm a tough guy." Like, he loves to let everyone knows he's so tough. Um, he is one of the worst in-game coaches in college football. It's pretty backed up by analytics of the case. I made a joke about the timeout earlier. The timeout stuff is a real thing, and I hate it that they've gotten this far because I've had to be like, I'm mad, like, "Oh, this sucks." And now we're here, and he gets to go up against arguably one of the best in-game coaches and the best prep guys and the actual tough guy in college football. It's Kurt Cignetti, Mike Shanahan, and our boy Brian Haynes. So, Alec, what's your initial thoughts on this? Because I have never been more excited to live on the internet for the next 9 days.
I echo that statement. I am super excited for this matchup. First of all, because people are gonna build this out to be like that Miami can win this football game, and like in theory they can. I think the first thing that I look at is that Corey Heatherman got to go up against this like Mike Shanahan, Kurt Cignetti offense for at least a full year when he was defensive coordinator at James Madison. So he's not going in completely dry. At the same time, Cignetti, Shanahan, full blown understand the tendencies of this Miami defense. I think the lines are interesting. Uh, Miami's offensive line, obviously highly touted, very good. Both tackles are really good, NFL draft guys, but they gave up 4 sacks against Ole Miss. The defensive line, again, highly touted, but they're not like Indiana struggles with guys that can beat them around the edge with speed. Neither of those guys are known for how quickly they get off the ball. Not that they're not great athletes, they are, but they're more like power inside, beat you with bull rushes and more inside moves. So it's like the strengths of this Miami team even play into the strengths of this Indiana team. And then you go to like the chess match, and it's like, what are we even talking about here? And then you go to the quarterbacks. I, no, I don't think it's an accident the line's moving as aggressively as it is, and it's like Miami is playing really well right now, and they've been able to like remove the feelings of losing to SMU and losing to Louisville,
Yeah.
but they lost to Jeff Brom's Louisville at home. Like this is, I don't even know if I have to say anything else.
Well, Alec, like, let's look at, is Miami really playing that well? Because to get here, they went on the road to Texas A&M in one of the worst college football games I have ever watched. Like, it was, eyes were bleeding. They beat Ohio State, and hats off to them for beating Ohio State. We will always wonder if Ohio State was actually that good, or did Indiana just show Miami the playbook on how to beat them? And to your point about earlier, the coordinator issue, like, were they actually ready for a team like Miami? So that's something that we will always speculate on. But that is a good win. Their best win of the year. Yes, Notre Dame fans, their best win of the year. Okay. Then they go play Ole Miss. So you get to play 2 DEI conference teams in the SEC to get to the national title game. And hats off for beating Ohio State. Gonna give you credit. That this won't be clipped when they all clip us to say that we're being braggadocious. That was good. But against Ole Miss, how many points did you give up? How many times did you, like, not it just absolutely want to throw that game away, and you're playing a team that has, like, 4 coaches on the sidelines left, and they're in that game to the end and probably should have won that game. So this whole narrative around it of Miami's playing well, I'm looking around going, what else what am I missing here that Miami's all of a sudden figured it out? They won 3 games in a row. Congrats. Because to Alex's point, they lost to Louisville and they lost to SMU and they looked real bad. In other games, they didn't look that great. So I'm just not sold on the narrative around that they're playing a lot better.
And I think the thing is they have like what is Miami good at, right? They can run the ball with Fletcher. He's unbelievably hard to tackle, but he's not super explosive. He's not going to gash you for a big 60, 70-yard touchdown, right? Malachi Tony is unbelievably dynamic. He's a great playmaker, but he's a true freshman. And then like the rest of their playmakers are like they're solid athletes, right? But they're not exactly like you're not comparing them to like Alabama's playmakers or to Ohio State's playmakers, right? So there's a little bit less to deal
Yeah,
with on the offensive side. And then they've still been able to put up points, right? It's been impressive, but they haven't played a defense like Indiana's either.
yeah,
The other thing that does stick out though about Miami is their physicality. I saw somebody tweet that this is probably going to be the most physical game Indiana plays, and I actually think that's true. And I think like that could work against this Miami team because this Indiana team likes to like especially when they understand what when the defense is trying to be aggressive, they do like to put a little cheese in front of the defense and let them take it. And so I do think there's some opportunity to use Miami's aggressiveness because they're going to want to come out and set the tone. Um, so
yeah.
there's going to be a chance to use their aggressiveness against them.
And I fully expect one thing that it's gonna be 50-50 probably in the crowd. It's definitely not gonna be an overwhelming majority for Indiana fans. Miami can't fill their home stadium when they have regular home games. So it's hard for me to believe, except for it's gonna be a cool thing in Miami to go see the Hurricanes. Like the amount of NFL people on the sidelines and stuff like that, and the cocaine dealers are just gonna fill that stadium, that it's going to be on a level of, "Oh, okay, this isn't Bloomington, Georgia, as you pointed out earlier. This isn't Pasadena, California, where Indiana invaded. Like it will be closer to 50-50. Um, to your point, they lost Louisville at home, so I'm not sitting here going that. And I think Miami as will they'll punch us in the mouth. Like I fully expect an early big play by Desmond Bain. Everyone's like, look, this is Miami thing. But let's just sit here and talk about this for a second. Of the defensive line units that Indiana has played this year, we've played 16 games. Is Miami the first overall draft pick for you if you were picking a unit?
Hmm. Do I get to take Iowa at home or is it just in a vacuum?
Iowa at home. Yeah, we'll put whichever unit in the so you could take Oregon at home or Oregon in the Peach Bowl.
I think Iowa at home just because of the way the crowd I think people underestimate how important crowd noise is in college football, and I think that's one of the things that made me kinda nervous about a national championship matchup with Miami is that if that fan base got really fired up, but to your point, even when they play home games in that stadium, they don't even fill it. So I would be stunned if it was even 65-35. And with how aggressive
Yeah.
the Indiana fan base has been with buying tickets, it's not gonna like your point. It's not gonna be a takeover. There's just no way. But enough of the Indiana fan base is gonna show out to where I think that it's the crowd noise is almost gonna be I don't wanna say neutral because it's gonna be loud on both sides, but I don't think either team's gonna have to go into silent count.
I am taking Penn State over Miami as a worse matchup for Indiana because of your speed, like you're talking about. Like it is not like the interior defensive line for them is really, really good. Like just tough. Like it's big, it's physical, like the way that they try to come up the middle. And that's our strong suit. So I'd be more worried about those, like you were talking about, the speed guys on the outside. I'm more worried about what Caden Curry did to us than I am what Miami's going to do to us in this game. On the other side of the ball, I've seen a lot of things like Miami's gonna run it down your throats. Okay. Like we're the best run defense in the country. And also, I would you agree that this is the best running attack we've seen all year? And by running attack, by the way, folks, All I mean by that is that Mario Cristobal isn't creative enough or ability to call other plays to, like, actually use guys like Malachi Tony. And Malachi Tony is so good. He is so good that he overcomes Mario Cristobal's limiter, the governors that he puts on Malachi Tony. Like, that's how good that kid is. But outside of that, they do try to run the ball. They try to prove that they're men and they're Miami men and they're gonna do this. They're probably the best running attack that we've placed. Like, Penn State's probably the only other challenger there.
I think Oregon's run game in the first game was really, really good. When that offensive line got moving, and there was a time in that second quarter where, like, Wyatt got launched and Landino got launched and Jamari Sharp's
Yeah.
lying on the ground and Cigs yelling at him, and, like, where it for a split second looked like Oregon took the physicality edge over. That was the only time I've seen that happen this year. That Oregon run game was really, really good, but Fletcher is the by far the hardest tackle to have all year. Like, he is the best version of what Daniel Hill should be. Like, Alabama fans have to be looking at that kid going like, what are we missing here? I think he's unbelievably good. I think their offensive line's really good, but, like, this Indiana defensive line doesn't just, like, line up and just, like, we're gonna run straight, and if your guys can block our guys, like, good on you. Like, no, we stunt, we twist, we move. Like, there was an awesome play from the third quarter of the Peach Bowl where Fisher and Kamara had a stunt, and Fisher absolutely obliterated the right tackle. Like, it was diabolical. Or was it sorry, it was the left tackle. Absolutely diabolical. And, like, that's like, these dudes are gonna get hit. Like, Indiana
Yeah.
guys are coming from angles they haven't seen before, and, like, you can watch the film and still not be prepared for which direction those guys are gonna be moving because it happens so fast. And so I think that's the one thing a lot of people miss on the defensive lines. Like, we set picks, we're blasting linemen left and right, we're creating confusion. Like, it's not just our guys are winning in one-on-one pass rush situations. Like, there's a lot going on in that front seven.
Well, one of the things that I thought was really interesting going into the Oregon game after the Alabama game, Bud Elliott, who I know is the favorite of all the Indiana fan base, but,
He blocked me for
who's
no
Brent
reason.
he blocked Kirkwood and Dunn's account. Luckily, I still have him on my account, but on his podcast. So if you watch the Cover 3 podcast, one of the things that he was so just obsessed with Brian Haynes after the Alabama game was he's like, they're stopping the run with one less guy in the box than they have to have. Like, that's why, like, Alabama just couldn't do anything is because of how much they're dropping. He's like, if they do that against Oregon, they're able to do that against Oregon. Like, it's going to be the same script. I don't know. I'm not. I watched the game. I've now watched it 2 times. It's not something that I noticed is like they were doing as aggressively that they were doing against Oregon because or Alabama because they're worried about the run against Oregon. My whole point is it might be the opposite because of who they've got at quarterback. Like, you could probably add another guy into the box because you look at Carson Beck and you're like, you see number 7 back behind me, Lewis Moore. Lewis Moore is going to catch more balls from you than your whole receiving core will do in this game. Ball hawk Lewis Moore baiting Carson Beck. I can't get. I am so pumped to watch this secondary with as few guys possible. Just putting Carson Beck into a locker. That is my favorite. This is going to be my favorite narrative thing. Your thoughts on Carson Beck? You've heard my thoughts.
Well, I think that the most underrated part of this Indiana football team is the secondary. It's the one part that doesn't get enough credit as it should. And Carson Beck's a guy who threw 11 interceptions this year, 6 of those in their losses, and 3 or 4 of them against Louisville. So even if you aren't able to hit him, I don't think Louisville recorded a sack in that game. But if you're able to get pressure on him and make him make decisions he doesn't want to make, that was one of the things that he was unbelievable at during the Ohio State game. Is he made the right play every single time. We know Fernando
Yeah.
Mendoza can make the right play every single time. Like, that's the thing about this Indiana football team is they just drag you into the deep end and they're going to execute every single time. Can you keep up? I'm not sure if Carson Beck can keep up. And as the pressure gets turned up and they get forced to throw the ball, and then Brian Hayes can do what he wants and walk guys up to the line and really confuse the quarterback, it could be another really, really long day for the opposing team.
Alec, he almost threw 2 interceptions on that final drive that he scored on. Like that's where we are. Go watch that final drive. There was a play, especially there was one where he threw like a duck. Just his arm is. I mean, and the guy, fairness, like he might not be fully recovered from his Georgia injury because that was like a really bad injury, and plus he might skip some therapy appointments, hang out with a Cavender twin. But it's one of those that he threw short to his receivers multiple times because he doesn't have really the arm zip to do it. But then the perfect Carson Beck play, like 3 or 4 plays right before it would they were driving. It was like inside their own 40. He runs out to the right. He gets pushed pressure on the right, and he goes to throw away the ball. And he's running and doesn't get enough on it. And it barely misses an Ole Miss guy to get an interception in that game. That game, they might not even be here because of Carson Beck. Sure, he ran the ball because the guy didn't keep contained, which, by the way, Indiana won't do, and left that side completely open. But this guy is just a walking time bomb for Miami, and the fact that it's there, and you've got just absolutely the bomb squad on the other side just going, "When are we gonna let this thing explode? When are we gonna let this thing explode?" Because Carson Beck is one of the dumbest quarterbacks in college football, and now he doesn't even have the arm strength. So, again, another Bryant Haynes specialty to just watch it, and sure, I will come on here and eat crow if Carson Beck goes out and throws 5 touchdowns in this game and 0 interceptions. But supposed number 2 quarterback in the country, then arguably the number 1 pick that compete with Fernando Mendoza just got lit up in Atlanta.
Both number one picks. Dante Moore just got it lit up. Ty Simpson got benched the week before. Like, you put an elite quarterback behind a decent offensive line in front of this defense, and they take it as a challenge. Like, I think people forget that this defense allows like 11 points per game.
Yeah.
Like, that
Yeah.
you just don't score on this defense. And so if you're not going to be a really disciplined, really dynamic offense with multiple playmakers that's going to scheme guys open, you're not just going to line up and beat these dudes one on one over and over again. Like, they're just, the scheme's too good. They watch too much film. Like, the individual guys are too good. Like, that's, if that's the game you think you're going to play as Miami, like, you're in a lot of trouble. And so, like, I could see that,
Yeah.
like, if they don't run the ball 45 times and Carson Beck doesn't play a super clean game, and this isn't like 13-10 in the fourth quarter, like, I really think it's ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is one of those. It will always be one of those things that I feel so confident of this coaching staff, and to my point as I started this thing, I think Mario Cristobal is one of the worst in-game coaches in football, and so give me the Hoosiers, every time. And yeah, we are gonna do a prediction, podcast next weekend with Tim, and we'll pick our scores, and I'm not gonna put Alec on the spot because 'cause he's got his own podcast that he's gotta do prediction for, but, like, you know where I'm leaning. It's just a matter of how many points do I think Indiana is going to win by rather than actually winning the game. Okay, we have to talk about Miami fans. They've entered our mentions. They're finding us. I do love the people that come into, like, the algorithm is great. Like, the algorithm knows Indiana Miami's going to play. So all of a sudden Kirkwood and Dunn ends up in people's mentions and they come in. And it's the same narratives over and over. And I saw you particularly catch one that was like the whole thing that we've had all season long, which is, well, I guess we just shouldn't even go if this Indiana team is going to do that. I, this is the 4th week. I think we're going to have to deal with this. Alec, how are you? How are you emotionally preparing yourself, and how do you suggest Kirkwood and Dunn fans who, if you're listening to Kirkwood and Dunn, you are probably someone who likes to talk trash on the internet and do some shit talking? Because obviously, if you're like, I want to break down film, Trent McGee is not going to be the guy to do that for you. So, like, we're here to talk narratives. That's what we do. We entertain, because that's what I think college football is. It is an entertaining product. So, Alec, how would you suggest people approach the cocaine cowboys that are the Miami Hurricanes?
Well, I mean, based on recent history, it's hard to say they're wrong. And I think it's funny that
Yeah,
they don't actually have to get on a plane. So I hope none of them are saying like, if we don't get on the
yeah,
plane,
that's
because
true.
it's literally, so. But no, it's hard to tell them they're wrong. Like,
Yeah,
everything tells Indiana fans that we match up very well with Miami, and that this
yeah.
could be a very, very fun day for the Hoosiers. And so, um, it's hard for me to sit there and be like, no, you guys actually should show up to the game when I think Indiana's going to dominate. So a part of me is just like, you know what? I think you guys might be right. They might be onto something. Maybe just don't show up.
I'm just gonna apologize to you now, Alec, because you know I'm clipping that and putting it online. So when you're tagged in it, like we had Jamie Jordan, who is a great guy, not a shit talker. I mean, he could throw it down, but like he was just making a point. Alabama fans roasted him. I'm gonna just package that thing little up, do a little editing, and just going to.
That's the
Oh
answer they're
man,
looking for, though, and that's the one I've been,
yeah.
like, dying to just say back to somebody is like, "You know what? I think they're right," because if you look at like, if you looked at Miami and like, what would the Miami and Oregon line be right now? Like 2.5
Yeah, I think it was 3.5, 4.5.
or something
I think it was 2.5 Oregon. Yeah.
like, it's like, what are we even talking about
Yeah.
here?
Well, and that was one of the things that you and I talked about before the Alabama game was it, it was literally if you were picking Alabama to be close in that game, it was only because of the side of the helmet. Like that was it. Because it was not only that Alabama I didn't think was very good playing in a not a very good conference. It was the way that they matched up with Indiana, just like the pieces. At Miami's a different piece. But the thing is they're one dimensional. They're one dimensional, like this run at least. They used to throw it a little bit more, but they've gone like Mario Cristobal, full sin Mario Cristobal, and it's like we're gonna run and we're gonna be tough, and I'm gonna be like this, and I'm not gonna talk about Miami being back. Where it's Scott Van Pelt, you shut your mouth like that Mario Cristobal. That's who we're dealing with, and but what that's become is like they're one dimensional. They're going to try to run the ball. And I know in Ole Miss, Miami fans were upset and they were dumb. They didn't try to run the ball. They like got away and started passing again. And they kept Miami in the game. So we think they're not going to do that in against Indiana, where they're going to continue to try to run and be tougher than the 0 to 3 stars that we have along our line? This is like literally just Winnie the Pooh getting his hands stuck in a honey pot. Like it is I I just can't get it. I'm just so ready. I'm so ready for this. It's gotta get here right now.
Yeah, it was like, let me describe a football game, and you tell me what team wants to play that way. It's like physical, run dominant. Like we'll see who's
Yep.
tougher. Let's try and move the ball, and then limit the number of possessions. It's like that's the game Indiana football wants to play every single time. Cool. Well, if you want to have, if each team wants to have the ball 5 times, we'll score 5 times. Go ahead. Good luck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. You actually just reminded me of something. You know what this game probably is gonna look like? Wisconsin, Indiana.
Mm.
I could easily see that. Now, Carson Beck can throw more than whatever Wisconsin had in the as quarterback in that
I
game,
was
but
impressed with him.
yeah, like, but he was a runner, like, he was a run first guy. I mean, he had the good throw to the tight end, that busted our coverage because we were just so shocked that they threw the ball. But my biggest thing with that game was, it was the shortest college football game of the year, I think. It just ended so quickly because both teams were just at that point, Indiana was just like, "We're tired. We just wanna just run the ball and get
We
to
got
the
to get
bye
to the
week."
bye.
Yeah. I I'm not saying Indiana's gonna do that because I think Fernando Mendoza is home in Miami and they will throw the ball, but I I could see this game moving pretty quickly because both teams are kinda satisfied with long drives running the ball.
Yeah, I think
Is it
Wisconsin's a funny one, but I think Ohio State. But if it ends up being a low possession game, but I think Wisconsin ends up being like the ceiling of like Indiana dominates offensively and defensively. If we end up getting like an actual hard nosed like well played, well fought football game, it could look a lot like the Big Ten championship. But again, like those are two styles of football games that Indiana has both played in and more than comfortable playing in. And it's like you start talking about which way these matchups could go, and it's just there's a lot of very favorable matchups on the field for Indiana.
What's a favorable matchup is all the content and podcasts that are gonna be coming out this week about the Miami, Indiana national championship game. I know that Alec will be all over it on his Twitter. Alec, what is your Twitter just for the fans? Where do you wanna point them to?
At Alec Keezer, AlecKeezer. I make it easy. Just search my name and my tweets will pop up. You know, I'm on there enough.
Cigs Inside Pod, Voice of College Football. You can find those on YouTube channel. For that, go subscribe. He does live shows. He likes to mix it up with people in the show. He loves when people are in the comments. So if you're a Miami fan catching this podcast, go hound Alec in that podcast. But here's the thing: is no matter what, we're playing the U. The U might be back, but Indiana is going to send them home. Man, that was so corny of everyone that's on the YouTube channel. They got like we just did the U symbol for those on the podcast, and then went
Yeah.
down when we said like Indiana's there. But that's the thing; they call us cornballs, so I'm gonna lean into it as we go through this. For Alec Keezer, go find him. You heard that. Follow me at ST McGee. Poor Tim will be back this week if his voice is back at TB Hoosiers, at Kirkwood and Dunn Podcast. Alec, thanks for stepping in at the last second and joining the show. It's been great, man.
It was an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for having me.